Tell me your story.
How did it all start? Do you remember?
Oh, now what happened? How did it stop?
This is Small Business Origins.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Small Business Origins. You're tuned in to our nationwide search for entrepreneurs that have a story to tell. And joining us virtually in the studio is an entrepreneur that wants to do just that. All the way from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, we have Brian Winch with Cleanlots.com. Brian, welcome to the show.
Here, John.
It's always great to have you, and I'm interested in what it is that you do, and I want to break all that stuff down. But before we do, we always start out with an icebreaker question, and today's icebreaker question is, how do you top your burgers?
Oh, I love a mushroom Swiss. You can't beat that.
Yeah, I'm one that kind of does whatever it is that I'm ordering. So, I just kind of let it roll as far as whatever flavors the restaurant has curated and put together and they're presenting on that hamburger is what I typically go with, minus the things I don't like. Mushrooms is one of the ones I'm not a huge fan of. But I'll tell you, every single hamburger I eat has to have jalapenos and bacon. I don't care how you're flavoring your burger, what you're doing there. I want jalapenos and I want
Fair
bacon.
enough.
That's for sure.
I'm not too picky. I just don't particularly like some of the spicy mayos or whatever. But other than that, I'm pretty easy.
I heard a saying yesterday that kind of cracked me up and is like my new standard saying now is, if you ain't sneezing, then it ain't seasoned. So the spicier, the better for me. I love spice in there. I like to, be woken up by the flavors that are just impacted in the food that I'm eating, for sure.
Whatever works.
All right. Well, Brian, we're here to talk about you, man. Where did you come from and how'd you get into entrepreneurship? What's your origin story?
I was 21 and working a full-time job as a shipper-receiver at a large sporting goods company. And I wasn't a very good student in school. I just barely graduated high school. So I was doing what I could, pretty much do for the rest of my life. And at that age of 21, I saw it as a dead-end job. I wasn't going to really my opportunity for advancement was pretty much slim to none. So I started looking at different opportunities for self-employment. I've always been an independent thinker, person, a loner or an introvert, and I just like to do my own thing, and that's it. And so, the problem was I didn't have a lot of money in the bank and, not many skills because I didn't go to college. So what could I do? So, there was a saying back then, it's still prevalent today, fortunes can be made cleaning up after others. So, that kind of sparked an idea. My dad was a janitor, and he had recently passed away at that time, unexpectedly at the age of 61. And so, but I remembered, he did a number of things to, supplement the income, like cut grass for people in the summer, shovel snow in the winter. But he also cleaned up litter from a nearby shopping plaza. And he had taken me along with him a couple of times when I was, I guess, 12 or 13. And I remembered, wow, this is easy. And it's almost as easy as going for a walk. And he's making money from this. And, all we did was show up early in the morning, before he went to work, before I went to school, before the businesses open. And we would walk the exterior property, the sidewalks, parking lot, and the surrounding landscape, and to collect or sweep up any type of litter material we came across, the stuff that people always discard, cigarette butts, empty drink cups, fast food wrappers. But we would sweep that up into our litter collection devices, and it would just be a matter of minutes to walk the property, and he was paid to do this on a regular basis. The point was to keep the property litter free, as opposed to going in and cleaning up an accumulation of litter debris or material. So with that memory, I thought, well, maybe there's a full-time business in there with that idea for myself. So. Make a long story short, I remembered who his prospects were. I mean, he was working for property management companies. So I just started letting my fingers do the walking, if you will, in the old telephone yellow page directory, the internet of the day. And, started cold calling and refined my elevator pitch. And, about 3 or 4 calls in, I had a prospect who said, you know what? Here's the addresses of 2 properties. Go out, take a look at them, get back to me with a price, and we'll see what happens. And that's how it started. I got 2 properties, and I continued to scale the business. So then after about, I guess, 3 months, I was making more money on the side than I was from my full-time job. Simple decision for me. I quit my job, and I've been cleaning up litter for parking lots ever since, for 40 plus years.
Wow. What a way to just kind of hop into it full time. I wish that I had that success story already. That's something that I'm definitely working for. Is like you said, it's an easy decision. When you look down and you say, well, I'm making more money working for myself than I am for someone else, then why would I continue to be there for somebody else? So you were telling me earlier that you have a book as well that you distribute widely in the US.
Cleanlots, and it's available on Amazon and the online bookstores, but also from my website, cleanlots.com. And I got the idea to share this opportunity with other people about 5 years into my business, when I realized, wow, I mean, I developed this business from the School of Hard Knocks, but it would have been great if I had somebody to teach me the ropes. It would have saved me a lot of time and money. And, there's a lot of people, I guess in my demographic that, don't have a lot of money, don't have many skills, but they want to work for themselves. And, what kind of opportunities are out there? So I thought, why not share it with other people? And, Cleanlots, America's Simplest Business, was born. And yeah, I really get a kick out of helping other people across the country start something like this in their community. And, I enjoy, kind of both worlds. I still clean the parking lots because I enjoy doing it. I get the satisfaction of seeing the results from my work and knowing I'm making a community a cleaner, safer place to live, work, and play. But, and I also enjoy sharing the opportunity with other people.
So how long was it that you spent in the business doing all of the work yourself before you transitioned into having employees?
The original intent was just to keep it simple and just stay a one-man operation. And I did that for a number of years, probably, 5-7 years, something like that. And then I guess I became a victim of my own success. My clients started asking for more of me in more places, and I can only be so many places at one time. So out of necessity, I had to, bring some people in, firstly starting on providing weekend service. I wasn't up to working 7 days a week. So that's how it started. And then, I got other people to like friends, coworkers, colleagues. There's plenty of people out there that are willing to make some money on the side, providing a simple service such as ours. And then, so we continued to scale. I went from a one-man operation that did about $100,000 a year into one. Eventually, now we bill out anywhere from $650,000 to $700,000 a year, and that's all we do, just litter cleanup. We don't get into any other cleaning services. So it's a very unique niche cleaning service that people can make a lot of money doing if they don't mind cleaning up after other people.
So is this mainly just large kind of empty lots or like parking lots, that kind of stuff that you service?
Which would be, the parking lot is part of that, of any type of commercial development. It could be retail strip plazas, office, industrial, or else, like smaller office buildings. Those are our 3 main markets. And so, people have, approached me and said, well, do you clean apartment condos or residential properties? And it is possible, but we've never gotten into that segment of the market. The big money we have discovered is in the commercial, for commercial property management companies.
How many people does it take to go out and complete a job?
With the unique hand tools that we use, and because we're providing our service on a frequent basis, anywhere from 2 or 3 days a week for, like the office industrial, properties, up to, 5 to 7 day a week for the retail properties, because we're maintaining these properties, just a little bit more time that it takes to walk a property. So anywhere from, like maybe a small strip plaza might take, 10 or 15 minutes to service, maybe something a bit larger, half an hour, up to maybe an hour and a half, to walk the property. So, it is pretty simple work. You just have to be willing to go out and do it. And, the key is you need to provide this service in the early morning hours and have it completed just before businesses open. So that's how you can provide your best results, because you can clearly see and clean all litter material without any type of vehicle interference.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what's like the average cost of something like this? It is subscription based. That's kind of what you're telling me, right? Because you want to be able to come back like every week and do this to maintain it. So what kind of a cost am I looking at, or should I expect?
In the book, we show you how to put together a price, and it's based on the time it takes to walk the property. And then after a while, with experience, you get really good at it. You could just look at a property, and you have to be there. I mean, if someone approaches you and say, "Hey, I've got a property, 100,000 square feet. What's the price?" It just doesn't work that way. There's so many variables. No two properties are identical, or exactly identical. I mean, one can generate or have tenants that generate more trash material. Maybe a pizza restaurant that sells pizza by the slice, a fast food chain, maybe a convenience store, whereas another property, the same square footage, is largely white collar professional in nature, like doctors' offices, law firms, engineering firms. But basically, you would put together a contract price, which you bill your clients year round, monthly, for, let's say, $400 a month, or $950 a month, or anywhere up to even $2,500 a month. So it actually brings in really, really nice money if someone is thinking of doing this on the side, or eventually scaling it into a full-time business, like I've done.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. I know you have the book that kind of tells you how to build the business there, but these specialized hand tools that you have, are these things that you own that are proprietary, or are these things I can purchase and utilize?
I don't manufacture them. I don't own the rights or anything, but it's ironic. I've been using the same hand tools for over 40 years, because nothing has ever been developed that is as good or has been better. And people can see that on my website. I have a brief video showing me, servicing a property, so people get a better understanding as how is this work done and what types of tools do you use. But in the book, I do provide the contact information for that company, and so people can get in touch with them directly and order the tools. But, basically, you might see some people out there, some competitors that are using all sorts of small, tiny little lobby pans, which are really intended for the inside of a building, or these litter grabber tools, which might work good when you're trying to reach something inside of a bush. But, if you can imagine, you don't want to use those tools to clean up one cigarette butt at a time. Whereas the tools we use, we simply walk up to the material with the broom, sweep it or pass it into our collection tool, and off we go to the next item.
So how much do you think, because I'm sitting here thinking in my head right now, me and my 14-year-old have had some discussions about ways that he can start making money and saving up and doing those kinds of things to get a car and whatnot. And I'm like, this seems like something that would be a good match for him. What is the cost to entry into this kind of a job or this type of company if it is just a solopreneur that's looking to kind of open up their own thing?
I started, back in 1981 with an investment of about $250. So, nowadays with inflation, I would say, you could probably start for under $1,000 and maybe $750. The biggest expense, in getting started would be the cost of your comprehensive business liability insurance. If you're going to be providing this service, for a commercial client, such as a property manager, they want to make sure that you carry the appropriate, amount of insurance, and the insurance, protects them, but also protects you against any type of liability, slip and fall claims, etc. But typically, that you can get started. There's a lot of my students have been reporting that they can find coverage for something that rounds out to about $100 a month. So that would be $1,200 for the year. And sometimes you don't have to pay up front. You can just pay in the installment either monthly or quarterly or every 6 months. As a means to, kind of bootstrap your resources and get started, more inexpensively. But the hand tools, we're looking at about, $50 to $75. You can, you have a home-based office. You can use whatever vehicle as long as it's reliable to get you around from job site to job site. And I teach my students very inexpensive and, in a lot of cases, free ways to market your service. To get started. So, you don't have to jump in and build or develop an elaborate website to begin with. You can start with things like a Google business profile and a LinkedIn profile, because, that's where your clients are. And it's a way to make it easy for your prospects to find you, besides, you going out there and trying to find prospects for your business.
So going back to your company that you're still running, about how large of an area do you service? Where do you go out to in your area, and where do you not go?
We service the Calgary area and surrounding communities. So, Calgary is about 1.3 million in population. So when I first started, the city was smaller, and I would kind of go all over the city wherever the work would take me. And then you learn to become more efficient, and over time. When you develop more properties, you can, kind of keep a route for yourself in a certain part of the city. And then, when you have more properties in another side of the city, that's when you get somebody else to do the work over there. And it cuts back on your travel time, but it also makes you more efficient in terms of the time it takes to clean your properties.
Why did you decide to write a book and train others to do it instead of doing a franchise or something where you could have somebody kind of buy into your program and actually open up in a remote location?
And actually, the business model is too darn simple. If someone's going to pay me, a few $1,000s for the exclusive rights to sell franchises in a certain area, what are they going to get back from me? What are the benefits of being a franchise? Really, like I say, the name recognition doesn't really matter, because by and large, every city has different property management companies. I mean, sure, there are some that operate nationally, like, Colliers International, CBRE or whatever. But, property management companies tend to be these mom and pop operations, if you will. I mean, they only operate in that particular city. So, having a name doesn't really matter to them. They're just concerned with results. And so, once people buy my book and they learn the business, they don't need me anymore. I mean, I do provide free coaching, free online or free support. For people to get started and get this business off the ground and bounce some ideas off me. But, I think after a while, once they've learned the business, people would resent sending me, 3% royalties every month off the money that they are making. And so it's not like they buy television or radio commercials from me and they get some exposure that way from a national brand recognition. So and also I chose the book format because, I want to make it as affordable as possible for people that don't have a lot of money, for people that want to start a cleaning business. And so I wanted to make the opportunity is affordable for that group of people, as opposed to people that maybe have deeper pockets and then maybe aren't even interested in getting into a cleaning business.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's just not something I guess I would always think about. I see these companies like Half Baked, which is this cookie company I had on my show not too long ago. And she was like, man, I just had customers that loved the cookies I made so much that they wanted to open locations in these remote areas that I was shipping to, like in Arkansas and Chicago and, all these places far away from down here in Texas where we're at. And it's like, that is so crazy when you have that level of success. Something we talked about early in the show here was it just kind of blows up and it's not something you're expecting to happen. and then when somebody says that, it's like, well, cool, capitalize on it and franchise. But it makes sense that you would have the book, because like you said, it is such an easy thing to do, right? Anybody can, even if they're not using your tools, I can just go walk in the parking lot and pick it up by hand if I want to. Anyone can go do this job easily. It's doing it the way that you've kind of set forth. And I feel like having that book is going to bring you some good revenue as well. That's going to kind of, in a way, replace that franchise, if not all of it, at least some of it.
The majority of my income still comes from cleaning parking lots. I mean, that's the bread and butter. So the additional revenue I generate from teaching others, how to duplicate my success in their cities, it's nice. It's never going to be the same that like $600,000, $700,000 a year, whatever. But one thing I will say, another benefit from the people buying my book is they're not limited as to where they operate. The most successful student of mine to date was a high school teacher in Illinois, and he was looking for something to do on the side in the summer months when he had more time, when school wasn't in season, or excuse me. And so he started out simply, just like I did, and then he built it into a full-time business. And then now he's operating in almost, I think, 50 states right across the country. And he kind of struck gold, if you will, doing business for one particular client. And I won't say who it is, but I mean, they have stores all over the country, and they were so happy with this work in his local market. They put it out to him. Well, do you have people in these other cities? And at the time he didn't, but he didn't say no. And he simply recruited people, in other cities to do this work. He would provide them with the work, and show them this is what needs to be done, and they would do the work, and then that enabled him to operate right across the country. And he's making a fortune doing this, and there's no reason why other people can't do the same.
Yeah, that's what an amazing success story. I mean, and then like you said, all of this goes right back to the very beginning, where you can make a fortune cleaning up someone else's mess. And it's so amazing how much money people will spend on that, especially companies who don't want to hire people full-time all across the country to service all of their locations to do nothing but pick up trash on a corporate level, where they're offering retirement benefits. They have to do the training and all this stuff. It's just they'd rather pay a fortune to somebody to come in and handle it for them, just because they know the work's going to get done and I don't have to worry about it. And I'll be honest, I'm one of those people that, sometimes in life, there's certain tasks that I don't mind paying somebody to do because I don't want the headache. Well, and you just have to know when to capitalize on that.
Any other service that's necessary to maintain a commercial property. I mean, property managers pay big money to landscape contractors to maintain their landscape, and then in certain areas of the city, provide snow removal during the winter months. So it's amazing the fortune sometimes that they pay out, but all they want are results. And they don't want to have to go out and provide the service themselves and the equipment. And with our service, the reason it's been so successful for over 40 years is, like I mentioned earlier, the time of day we do it. There are some competitors of ours that are out there. It might be a landscaper, it might be a cleaning company, but they're trying to fit the service in the same time they're providing their other services, which in most cases does not work. I'll put it to you this way. If a property manager is going to have their property power swept with a street sweeper, that sweeper is not coming in during the day when businesses are open and there's cars in the parking lot. It's there after hours, and it's the same goes for our service. We have to clearly see the whole exterior property, which includes the parking lot, and the only time of day that's possible is in the early morning hours. And that works. But also, like I mentioned earlier, I'm an introvert, a bit of a loner. I really enjoy doing the work at that time of day because I don't have the hustle bustle, all the traffic headaches. I can get in there. I have the peace of the early morning hours, especially in the summertime when I see the sun come up. And I really enjoy what I do at that time of day. And, I can do a lot of my best thinking at that time of day too, for whatever I want to do or add another product to help people develop this business in their cities.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. So are you on social media, YouTube, anything like that right
I
now?
just started a YouTube channel, and maybe you can put that in the show notes. I could provide that to you later. But I've got a Facebook page to help me, share content about my business opportunity. Of course, with the cleaning business, I have a company page on LinkedIn, LinkedIn profile, and I'm not on all the different social program or platforms. It's just the ones that work for me, and where my prospects are going to be.
Yeah, focusing your energy. I don't think it's a bad thing. I just like to encourage people definitely to go give you a follow and pay attention to what you're doing and just kind of see what information you're pushing out there. Are you always pushing educational content out as well as, the services you provide?
With my YouTube page, it's the business opportunity, and I've got a couple of videos there now where I've been on podcasts, and the interview's gone really well. I just released was it Monday, kind of like an explainer video on the opportunity, and that's out there on YouTube. And same thing I shared on my Facebook page. And then also my LinkedIn company page. I also have a company page for the cleaning business too, where we share, observations and tips for property managers, how to get the most out of their parking lot litter cleanup service. And so, you have to be out there to get exposure, make it easy for people to find you.
Absolutely. That's why we always link everything that we talked about right there in the show notes for our guests and for our listeners so that they can absolutely find everything that they need to connect with you and to learn from you. And most importantly, to go to cleanlots.com and buy that book and start learning it. I'm telling you right now, I'm probably going to buy it for my son and, try and encourage him that this is something that I can invest in and help him to make money at. I think it's a great opportunity for anyone. And it's a nice, humbling experience for people too, to get out there and bend over and pick up other people's trash and serve other people and do something that is truly making an impact right there in their local area.
I'm glad you brought up that point that it's very humble. And so, what better way for a young person to learn that there's a great way to make money if from a very simple service, if you don't mind doing it. All too often, there's a lot of people who turn their nose up at various opportunities, and they're looking for that way to get rich without having to work for it. And the only people that maybe are making money that are the promoters selling these get rich quick schemes.
You see it all the time where they want you to pay $500 and then you're going to watch this video from them for an hour and you're going to be rich all of a sudden. And I think it's supply and demand, man. It just comes down to if you've got, like the NFL, for instance, my son plays football. He loves playing football and it's his dream to go in and be a part of the XFL or the NFL or the CFL, anywhere that he can make money to play ball. And it's like, that's a great aspiration to have. And if it's something you can do, I'd love to see you do it. And I look forward to the day I can sit in my suites and watch the game and invite my friends and family out to these boxes to, have that VIP treatment. But the reality is there are so many millions of people who are faster than you, stronger than you, trying to go out for that job. And the reality of you making a crap ton of money off of it is just simply low. I've heard some stats before that something like 2% of high school football kids in Texas, which Texas has a huge football program, less than 2% go to college on a scholarship to play ball. And then out of that, less than 2% of those people that made it actually get a chance to go to the NFL. And then you have to stand out and be on top to stay on the team and get the money with something like picking up trash, cutting lawns. These aren't things that everybody's coming out of the woodwork to do. There's a special amount of people in every city that want to make money doing those kinds of jobs, but there's more opportunity there than there are companies that can provide the services. And so I think it just comes down to a simple supply and demand.
And you have to follow your passion. So, I wish your son good luck, but one thing he can understand is if he can't make it, and I'm not saying he won't, but if he can't make it as a player, Well, he can still pursue a life in football, pro football, maybe as an official, maybe as a coach. So there's all sorts of various other, jobs, if you will, that are surround the sport, but that aren't necessarily playing. But he could still be an official, and like I know I coached hockey. I played hockey at a high level when I was younger. And, I know a bunch of teammates that, didn't work out playing in the NHL, but they became officials. And, one fellow, I think he was 15 years as a linesman in the NHL. And, it didn't work out as a player, but, he still got to the NHL.
Yeah, like you said, it's passion and still being involved. I mean, same thing with, football. Well, if you like marketing or you like podcasting or you like broadcasting or anything else, you can still be involved with football on a very high level and have very nice access to those football leagues by performing jobs that are kind of around that. But you're 100% right. It's all about your passion, because I'll tell you, as someone who's living it right now, I'm not getting rich doing anything that I'm doing, but everything I'm doing, I love. And that's the part that makes it easier for me to wake up in the morning and go to work. Now, I'm going to tell you, waking up at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. and heading out there to pick up trash out of a parking lot doesn't seem like a good time to me. But being able to guide my son in the management and business side of things that I have the training and education in to help him to be successful in that is absolutely something that I would love to do, just to be able to encourage him to have something he can call his own. And then there are people like you who I think it's awesome that it brings you peace to just have that walk that's, peaceful early in the morning, clear your mind and have those thoughts. And you're like, hey, I'm not even working out here doing this because it's fun, to you, which is great. I love the fact that we have people with such wide interests that are willing to do these jobs, and not only willing, but enjoy it as well. Because it is a very necessary
and
thing.
That's one thing you could say for this opportunity. It's recession proof. It's pandemic proof. People litter. They always have. I don't understand the psychology behind it, but there's always going to be plenty of work to do.
I think the psychology, unfortunately, behind it is I can just do it. I can do what I want because someone else will be there to pick it up. It's those that just weren't made to clean up after themselves as kids that grow into adults that just don't care because someone else will handle it for me.
I've often thought the same, but at the same time, I'm thinking, but still, you don't hear this little voice from maybe your parents telling you not to throw garbage outside of your car onto the parking lot. But maybe they have parents to do the same thing. So they were great teachers, right?
Yep. Right. Exactly. The cycle just repeats itself over and over again. No, I really enjoyed our conversation today. I think that this is such a cool opportunity for someone who's looking to tap into a way to be an entrepreneur or a solopreneur, and they're not sure how to go about and do it. And the fact that you're willing to, for a small price, sell these secrets and kind of teach people exactly what it is that they need to do. I think this is an amazing opportunity, and I can't wait to check out your website and share that with my son. And I hope that all of our listeners do the same.
I would appreciate that, John, and I wish everyone all the best.
Absolutely. Listeners, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Small Business Origins. Every single week, I am so thankful that people like you want to tune in and hear stories from entrepreneurs just like Brian today. Make sure you check out the show notes for all the links that you need there, because that's where you're going to need to go to check out his book, to check out his company, what they're doing, and to be able to connect with Brian and ask him for those one-on-one trainings or anything that he's willing to offer to you to just kind of educate you on how you can be your own solopreneur, entrepreneur, just by cleaning up lots. But that's it. It's another episode, another week of Small Business Origins. We hope you tune in next week for another amazing story. Make sure you visit www.smallbusinessorigin.com to stay in touch, not only with your host, but our guests, as well as to sign up for our newsletter and find out about future episodes we have coming out and who we're going to feature on those. But that's it. That's it for us. We're done here. Another great conversation. And as always, stay beefy, my friends.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Small Business Origins.
I love an origin story.
If you like what you just heard, leave us a review, subscribe, and share with a friend.
You guys, check this out.
They're going to love it. You're going to love it.